And I was digging with a shovel and I went clink and I hit something and I thought, oh my gosh. And I had the adrenaline was pumping. And so I'm digging harder and I pulled.
Welcome back, Bjorn, to another episode of the Life Money You podcast. And continuing on our discussion from before, we are going to talk about the holidays. I think we're very excited. But the first question I have for you here is, do you know why reindeers wear bells?
I don't know.
Their horns don't work.
Nice. I like that. Oh.
And that exhausts the holiday jokes that I have. We are officially out. So.
One for one.
But getting in the holiday spirit up there, huh? Got a little snowage.
Looking out the window, I have white on the ground. We've been having snow for the last 2 days. I think we may have 2 or 3 inches on the ground. It's that time of year.
Because when I talked to you a couple days ago and you were like, we got snow, and I just wasn't expecting it. What I wasn't expecting, which I should have, was that we were going to get it. So I woke up this morning and looked out the window and I was like, what? Because it actually hasn't been like that cold here even. It's actually been not warm, but it hasn't been like super cold. So it just hasn't dawned on me. Like yesterday I was out.
Came through.
Doing some yard work and pulling the grill in. And it's just like I brought the lawnmower in and I just didn't expect to see it white today. So that being said, it puts us in the holiday mood because now we are looking forward to holidays and bully to whoever celebrates whatever holiday. We certainly support you on that, and hopefully it is a fine one. You and I, in our households, we have generally celebrated Christmas, although I think Festivus is a close second. You know, the airing of grievances.
Yes.
But one of the things that I wanted to bring you with me on is a journey about our own holiday experiences that might be, I don't know, ways to rethink the holidays, maybe some of the events, how you spend some money, maybe some tips and tricks for cutting down some expenses, but maybe you just have some unique holiday traditions or experiences that you want to share with people that maybe they would to share it. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about, because we were talking about it, is Christmas lights, going out and seeing the beautiful Christmas lights.
Yes.
And that's something that I did as a kid too, but maybe we could start with that. Can you tell me about seeing the twinklies at the holidays?
Oh, the twinklies. Yes. We do actually really love to do that as a family. And in the heart of free fun, that is a great idea for free fun. We live in the city, and so there's lots of houses around where we live, as well as the suburbs outside of the city that kind of go all out on lights. And I found a couple of free websites, apps that will tell you where there are opportunities to go do that. And everything from houses that sort of list themselves for free. There's places you can go where you can pay as well. And that's not bad either. If you're paying per car, then, that can be pretty affordable. But yeah, we're in Minneapolis. The other part of the Twin Cities, St. Paul, there's actually a block of houses where all the neighbors go all out, and they have a radio station that I'm sure others listening have done that, where you tune into the radio station and plays music, so you can be in your car, and it's got to be 10 houses. It's like the most figurines I've ever seen in somebody's yards. It's plural. Hundreds and hundreds of figurines and music going and lights. And it's good that all the neighbors are in on it, because otherwise it would be a very annoying neighbor probably to have the light show going on every single night. But that one is a favorite of ours. And then we've got a couple other places nearby that are just a single home. One that I can think of that's even closer, that is this beautiful, huge mansion that I'm assuming they have a professional do this, but they actually string up their humongous tree that's in their front yard all the way up to the top. The tree is like 50 to 75 feet tall, and they put lights around this whole thing. And I can't imagine what it's like I guess they probably turn off at night, but it has to light up their whole house because it's really bright. So that's really fun. We've enjoyed that.
I feel like I would just leave those up all year round. Who wants to be the person that takes that down and puts them back up?
We do that actually at our house. We have the icicle lights, and we've got a front porch, and we put those up, and we leave them up like all winter just because it's a fun way to have light, and it's kind of a pain to take them down, and it's cold out on the porch. So we wait till it's a little warmer to do that work.
Yeah, on those lines, I agree. I won't diss anyone's holiday lights around here, but there are some, like you said, that are city run, and they put up the lights, and they're the same lights each year, but then they charge by car and you can drive through. But I have found that generally, if you have done that once, you've seen all of their setups and trimmings and all of that. So I would suggest going to some of these neighborhoods. Sometimes just the hunt of finding some really beautiful lights can be exciting too. And if you have a family in the car driving through some nice neighborhoods sometimes, just seeing the houses, who doesn't like house watching a little bit, but that can be fun. And that was something that we would do as a kid. My father would take us through some of these neighborhoods, and we would just try for an hour drive and, oh, look at that house, and did you see that, and drive really slowly. And it's funny because you're driving through some of these neighborhoods very slowly, and on any other day someone would probably call the cops on you, but
exactly,
these people are doing up their houses because they want you to see it. You're almost doing them a holiday solid by going and gawking at their house. So I feel like it's no harm to do a slow drive by or even stop in front of their home and soak it all in. The other thing I was going to say on this, and I've never done this myself, but I have been very close, is I hate putting up those lights. So I totally understand that you put them up and you leave them up, but they have, and I almost did this last year, and me too this year, these like projector lamps that go outside, and they can be solar, you can plug them in, and then they project light onto your house, and they can be like giant snowflakes or snowmen. And I was thinking, man, that would be a lot easier, right? Find something that fits the holidays. You can do them for other holidays. I've seen like turkey legs and pilgrims and stuff for the Thanksgiving decor, but how easy would that be? Just to go out in the middle of your front yard, plug the sucker in, project it at your house, have maybe some of the effects of holiday lights, but not having to risk falling off the roof and holding on to your gutter and
totally
breaking an ankle.
Sounds like a movie like Santa Claus. Tim Allen.
Clark!
So our neighbors have done that before, and it does look really cool. It's just on the side of their house and has movement, and so it catches your eye. And sometimes we've actually been in our house and had the laser get into our eye, so we had to look away quickly. But it is really fun to see it.
But after you lost your vision, it wasn't an issue.
Exactly, it wasn't an issue
next year's.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, so
it is so fun to do that. I love taking our kids around doing that. We'll just get a treat, go in the car. And it is like a treasure hunt. It is fun. And that's how we found some of these places, was just driving through. And then we were trying to mark where it was because we liked them so much. We were hoping to see them the next year. But because you're weaving in and out and you're not always keeping track, it can be hard to remember sometimes where you drove. But it's fun.
It could be an app idea. Mark on the map where the best houses are for the benefit of the community, for sure.
I like it.
So, yeah, it could be a little fun thing to do. And just kind of puts you in the holiday spirit. I think when you start seeing that happen and pop up in your neighborhood, you start to feel it a little bit more. It starts to become a little real. Let me ask you this. Do you send out a holiday family update end of the year? Do you mail something out to friends and family? How do you do that?
Every year about this time, I sit down and I think, we should really do a Christmas card this year. And then we never do it. So we have
that's
not.
A good way to save some money.
Yeah, exactly. We've saved ourselves a lot of money. Yeah, we have not. I love getting them, though. We actually tape all the ones up in our kitchen when we get them from our friends and family. And some parts of me wish we did that. And then the financial part of me is glad that we haven't. We haven't done that. But what we have done, which is similar, which has actually been a Christmas gift every year to our close family and friends, is my wife she actually looks for a Shutterfly coupon, and there are tons of coupons all the time. So there's no question she's going to save money from full price. But she puts together a calendar for all of the, like, our grandparents, our parents, her siblings, my siblings, of our family for each month. And so she actually does the work to go through all those things. And then sometimes on Black Friday, actually, she gets a pretty good deal. And that's our Christmas card idea, but we use it as a gift. So that's a little bit of a hack, that it becomes a gift. And we just keep the group a little smaller. So I think we save some money, because I think we would probably pay over double what we pay if we were doing cards like everyone we knew or all the extended folks in our life.
Funny you should mention that. For my parents and my sister, who don't get to see my kid all that much, I actually I can't remember if it was Shutterfly or Snapfish or whatever it was now, but I took 12 pictures of my son and uploaded them to their calendar template to make 2023 calendars. And the Chrome extension, the Retail Me Not Chrome extension, actually ran through the discount codes and found one that was 75% off. So when I was checking out, I was amazed at it got down to like $6 or $7 a calendar, I want to say.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good deal.
So it was ended up being a great deal, actually a very cheap way to provide some gifts to some people and something that's more meaningful, I think, maybe a little more personal, although who uses paper calendars. But my parents still put one up on their refrigerator, so they are not completely obsolete.
So just a funny story about this. We send a calendar to my grandparents who live down in Arkansas, and my grandpa doesn't want my grandmother to look ahead in the months, but she said she secretly goes into another room and goes through all the months when she gets it so that she can see all the pictures. So it's a great way to just stay connected with your family and provide joy throughout the whole year. It really is a special gift. And rather than
what you should do is you should disassemble the calendar before you send it out and then only send them one at the beginning of each month.
One every month. Right. Yeah, one every month. You're not going to... Yeah, exactly. Wow. Oh, man. Yes. That was a fun story. If you know my grandma, you'd know that's who she is. So that's
it's not your grandma that surprises me. It's your grandfather that has the self-control. Because I would too, just be flipping through to look through. I would even thought twice about not looking through to surprise myself next month. Maybe because my memory is so bad, I'd flip to the next month anyway, and I'd be like, "What is that? Look at that!
I've never seen that before."
But if you are going to order definitely, I would check out the Retail Me Not Chrome extension. Let it run through those discount codes because I was pleasantly surprised. That was just last night, I think, that I ordered those things.
Oh, sweet!
Last minute gift idea. When I was like, we're going to keep it very cheap this year for all sorts of reasons, macro and micro reasons, but we are not going to spend a lot of money. And like I said in the other episode, we're not a gift-giving family. So my wife knows that not to expect any gifts. Maybe there's something small or maybe we'll go out to dinner or something like that, but we just don't do gifts. I grew up that way because we had money crunches growing up. So we just phased out the gifts and looked for other things to do. And I really think that's a great way. It's just been embraced as an adult. And for me, the beauty of it is that you really get to stay in the holidays. You don't get distracted by trying to buy presents, trying to be thoughtful. Where am I going to get them? Are they going to get here in time? Am I going to ship them, wrap them, all this other stuff? I also don't have to worry about the secondary part, or maybe it's the primary part for a lot of people. Can I even afford these gifts? Or am I going to be paying through the nose for months? Am I going to be buying the gift twice because of interest on a credit card or something like that? It's just kind of freeing and nice not to be able to do that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, instead of gifts, what about traditions? What about events? Things that you can do with your family, make some memories. And one of the things I was going to tell you in the Waitsman household, that on Christmas Eve, fondue has been a tradition.
It's a great tradition.
It's not super expensive. It's a little bit messy and a little bit involved, but we haven't done it religiously every year. But I would say that 3 out of 4 years we do fondue, and it's just fun. It's something we would never do. I can say that I probably have never done it outside of Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Because I've thought about it. There are some fondue restaurants around here that I'm always like, oh, we should go to that, but we never do. So that's something we do. And especially if my parents are coming in town, it's fun to whip out the fondue set and just do that because it kind of reminds them of the Christmases long ago. But from a cost standpoint, it's actually not that expensive of a dinner. You could actually have a much nicer dinner too and bust out steaks or something and probably spend a lot more money. But how about you guys? Any Christmas traditions?
I love that. Just really quickly, what kind of fondue?
So it's a cheese fondue, and
that sounds nice.
I would be lying if I could tell you all of the cheese components to it, and there's some sort of alcohol in it too, I think, something like that. But then the things that go into it are, like, we have prosciutto ham and pickles and onions and vegetables and some other meats and bread and different types of bread. It's actually probably the biggest one because you get these big bowls of cut bread to put in there. But yeah, it's just one likes onions, even those little round white onions. Those are my favorite, but other people eat them. But it's just fun. You know what's fun is when it comes off in the fondue dish and then you are fishing.
Exactly.
You are trying to find that sucker, and the clock is ticking because if it stays in there, it's going to get absorbed into the crusty bottom and burned. But those are fun. It's kind of like roasting marshmallows, the one that catches on fire, and then all of a sudden it's a emergency to see if you can get to it before
exactly.
it is totally gone.
At least that piece of food is 100% covered by the cheese.
Yes. Oh, you got your
right.
Got your money's worth on that one.
No 80% of to salvage that thing out of there. That's
I also feel like there's a little bit of the scarcity mentality at the beginning that everyone's kind of going in there, because I think there's like this subconscious, oh man, if I don't get in there fast, all the cheese is going to be gone. So everyone kind of gets a little frantic at the beginning. But
I think they call it the ballpark nachos factor.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Exactly. And then you're like, oh, wait, I got plenty of cheese left.
Too much cheese.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, one that we do with the family that lives in town is we do the dice game for giving. So we set a limit on the cost, and we used to give gifts, like all the kids would get gifts from everybody, and then the adults would do it. And I guess we still do that. But I think once you reach college age, or maybe you graduate somewhere in there, you've become an adult. And so now you're part of that game. And so we set a dollar limit, and everybody brings a gift that could go to anybody in the dollar limit. So that just helps control the cost. And then we do the game where you roll dice. If you get doubles, you get to pick a gift, you get to open it. And then the next person that rolls doubles, I think it is, or I think some defined number that we have, gets to either take your gift or open up a new one. And so once everybody has a gift, then there's one more round that we go around, and you can do like a last steal. And I think we have a limit of 2 steals or something like that. And then you keep it. So it's fun. There's plenty of things you can give people that anyone will love. And it's just funny every year to me to see like which ones rise to the top as the gift that everyone wants. And
what were the popular ones last year? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh. There's some gift cards to some places that people like. I think a bottle of wine was in one of them. So that not everybody wanted that, but like more people wanted that one. I can't think of it. It's some sort of food. Probably the instant gratification side of us. I can eat this right now. I don't have to wait.
Wheatgrass shots.
Yes.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah, totally. So it's been a fun tradition to have as a family. And that way there's just less pressure on the gift giving, especially if it's extended family who you see periodically throughout the year, but you just don't know enough about what they want. And it's interesting to me. We love giving gifts. We love giving gifts to our kids. We are a gift-giving family this time of year. But it's just interesting how, because our culture...
I should send you my list.
Yeah, just send me your list. And then I guess I'll just get to do an experience with you or something. Or...
Like I said, I'm not into the gift giving, but the gift receiving, I am fully embracing.
You like that? Okay. All right. I'll send you something. That's funny. Like I was saying, we love being able to give gifts, but it's a lot easier, obviously, to give them to people you're doing life with, your own kids, your spouse, your close family, and it gets harder the further out you go. So it's nice to have that cap and have a little bit of a game component, and just
the game is really what makes
lighter.
It fun. It's the drama and the excitement and the memories
there
and the laughs of stealing someone else's Star Wars bottle opener or whatever it might be. So I'm totally down with that. I think that makes a ton of sense. One of the things I was going to say, and we actually talked about this, was to help alleviate some of the pressure around the holidays. When my parents were in town last weekend, my wife and my mother actually made Christmas dough for Christmas cookies and then froze it. So when they are back,
that's a good idea.
Next month, they will actually start making the cookies. And so it's just kind of one of those things, you're offloading some of the effort of the holidays to a different point in time. And it's going to be a lot easier to pull out that dough, thaw it out, cut it up into bakeable cookie slices, and then just cook it. And then we'll have the smell of fresh baked cookies around here, which are almost as good as the store-bought one.
Almost as good as getting to eat them. Just smelling them is half the fun.
They don't last that long around here. And what's always funny is pulling out those hot cookies and then going after a hot cookie, which will just disintegrate under its own weight as you go after it. But man, the amount of patience in this household when it comes to fresh baked cookies is nil.
Yeah.
Darn near nil.
I agree. You could actually do that with other key parts of your meal, too. You got to be careful with like freezer burn and that sort of thing. But I'm just thinking, what about mashed potatoes? Or if you had different parts that were a quarter of the meal that can be in a freezer for a while, like that's a really good idea. You've got more time now probably than you'll have in a month or a few weeks. And so I love that idea of preparing and having it ready to go so you can just warm it up, heat it up, put it on the stove, whatever.
Yeah, it's a good point. And maybe even pre-buying some of the stuff, your cranberry sauce or whatever it might be, add it to your normal grocery realm so that you have it, so that you're not shouldering the full purchase burden then. And also, shortage of grocery supplies can be a real thing if you live in an area where people are all waiting to the last minute. That could be a strategy to avoid a little bit of stress around that. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, and I actually just did this, was that if you have bought anything in the last year or 2 or 3, maybe you work with a financial advisor, or in my case, it was my mortgage broker from when we bought our house 7 years ago, sent out a mailer, Breakfast with Santa. And that's coming up on December 12th or 13th or something like that. But it's a free customer appreciation event for his clients of any age, because it's been a while. But for us, we have a newborn in the house, so wanted to get pictures with Santa. This way we don't have to pay for it, get in a long line. We can actually go somewhere where I know it's going to be a smaller, more intimate group, get to see a friend. And the cost of that, including the breakfast, looks like is going to be picked up by his company. So using some of the client appreciation events that you might be invited to, or maybe have disregarded the flyers in your mail or the emails that you've gotten, could be something that could be fun. And in the past, sometimes he's had things that are as simple as a movie ticket for everyone in the family and a free bucket of popcorn, and they have a matinee theater booked and stuff like that. So it's just kind of nice. It's maybe about once a year, but in this case, it was perfect timing and a great way for me to get something that we were talking about without having to pay for it. So if you have someone who appreciates you and inviting you to something that's on a company dime, good way to pay for stuff.
I think something in the same vein that we've taken advantage of is looking for just local free concert opportunities. So my wife and I are both musicians, or don't play quite as much as we did, but we really love music, and so are our kids. And I'm thinking of churches. There's lots of churches that have different concerts that are free. Schools that you live by have either free or small fee type of concerts. And then malls. We live near the Mall of America. We live near a lot of malls. I wonder if we have so many malls up here. Maybe because it's freezing cold for 6 months out of the year. Possible. And there are free concerts.
I'm surprised you don't have reindeer parking at some of those malls.
We should have reindeer parking. Yeah, I think so. We have concerts all the time. And I never think to look, what's the local mall's concert schedule? But it's perfect with kids for us, because you're usually just standing there and you can come and go as you want, which is nice, because it's not like my kids want to sit for a 2-hour concert anywhere. It's a nice option. And if you're not picky with who you're seeing, then it's free. It's a great way to go out shopping, and here's some holiday cheer.
And I'm going to ask you to expand a little bit, because in a different episode of a podcast, you talked about live stream concerts, and maybe you could talk about that, because in fact, some of the holiday concerts around here are already sold out, I've noticed. Because I did look into this for my parents coming in, and because they do a nice show, a lot of these places don't have any more tickets.
Yeah.
But they're providing some of their stuff digitally and things like that too.
Yeah, so we've done this before, actually around this time of year. There was a musician that my wife and I really enjoy, and he was doing a concert probably like in Tennessee somewhere. I don't even know. It doesn't really matter. And you could buy tickets to the virtual concert. And what's great about it is that, it was a little bit cheaper because they don't have any overhead per se. And it's likely that they're doing a live concert and they're selling this virtually. So the cost is a bit lower. And they know the experience isn't the same. So I'm not saying the experience is the same. We're not going to Tennessee. It'd be nice to go there, but we're not going to be getting there this year. We were able to have the code to get in, the login, but I believe we've done it a couple times. One of the times we actually couldn't come live, but we had access to the concert for a month, I think, after it happened, which was awesome. So we could just fit it in when it worked. And it was a great concert. You could speed up through it because it was recorded in the vein of taping a show or something like that. It wasn't very expensive. It would have probably cost us 4 or 5 times as much to go live. And we got to have the experience and enjoy that just being at home. So it was nice.
Well, that does sound nice. And actually, one of the things I was thinking about is with these concerts is when I have family over, maybe just putting on the TV and maybe putting it a little lower. So maybe we wouldn't sit around and participate like we were at the concert, but just having that ambiance, having it on the screen, the performers up there too, I think would be even a little bit more unique than just playing music over the stereo too. So I definitely like that. In terms of events, this is something I was actually just looking into. I've never done it in previous years, but I was just working on booking it myself, is that, and I would think that you would have this probably all the way up through June in your area, but sleigh rides. And So you have to kind of go back and realize my setup there was the joke. But in this area, I actually looked for sleigh rides, and in where I'm at, we're right on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. So southern Wisconsin is in play too, but most of these are in Wisconsin. But there's at least 4 different companies that do sleigh rides. And what I like about this is that it's really not per head dependent. So you book the sleigh for the half hour or whatever the ride is, and it looks like generally about half an hour sleigh is $125. But it looks like in some of these sleighs you can get 6 to 8 people. Depends if you have these 2 compartment sleighs or just the one. When you think about, hey, in your case, you have a family of 6 people, when you look at $20 a head for that event, and a lot of these are on, let's call them like a farm or an orchard type of setup. So most of these had a restaurant on their property. So afterwards you could go and have their holiday buffet lunch or something like that, so you can warm back up afterwards. But I was thinking, I don't know that I've ever done that. And one, it probably depends on what type of Christmas you're going to have. If it's going to be a white Christmas, then that could definitely be in play. If it is going to be a warm and muddy Christmas, then you may not want to do that. But between doing that, having some pictures, having that experience, taking some video, having lunch there, coming home, and then having a warm hot chocolate at home or something like that, that could be fun, especially I think if you are with kids or maybe newly dating or something like that. Little fun outing.
I totally agree. We actually have, it's a little bit after the New Year's, so I guess it was a extension maybe of the holidays because the lights are still up and everything, but we have a thing in St. Paul called the St. Paul Winter Carnival. And there are a lot of different events, but one of the things that happens is in this park right downtown, they bring in ice sculptors who just basically make these creations out of a block of ice. It's amazing. They're using chainsaws. It's incredible, to be honest. It's unbelievable what they can create. And they have those lit up at night, and they're working on them. It is usually very cold, but you can go for a little bit, and it's free just to walk around and see everything going on.
It's my favorite price.
Free is a good price. Another thing that is pretty much free that we have done in a few years, it was a little bit easier before we had kids, but I think eventually we'll do this again, is the Winter Carnival medallion hunt. So the Pioneer Press, which is a local paper, hides a medallion in something, and it's in a park in the county, in Ramsey County. And so the paper releases a clue every week, and it's pretty fun. We've tried, and the clues are really hard, full of multiple meanings, and there are people who take off work for 2 weeks to go and search for this thing, because if you clip all of the clues out of the paper and you buy a Winter Carnival button, I think, and I think there's one other thing you have to do. I think the grand prize is like $10,000 for finding it. It's a nice chunk of money. It's pretty fun though. I still remember when I was probably like maybe 10 years old, my dad and I a few times growing up, and we were out at a park and we thought it was at this park. And so you're digging in snow basically where I live. And I was digging with a shovel and I went clink and I hit something and I thought, oh my gosh. And I had like this, the adrenaline was pumping. And so I'm digging harder. And I pull it up, and it was a empty bottle of alcohol in the park, and it was not the medallion. So but we've actually been in the park. We've looked in the park where it has been found, and it's amazing. Usually people are just digging and they find it. It's really tough, but a fun memory. The point there was just that sometimes parks, even if you live in a cold climate, are doing fun things like that. Treasure hunt, sliding, ice skating, ice sculpting. And these things are usually free, or because it's cold. So
sledding, exactly. The obvious ones here that I wasn't even thinking about. When you were telling me about this treasure hunt, first, two ideas popped in my head. One, stay tuned for the Life Money You treasure hunt next year.
Oh, I like that idea.
We're going to put out some clues, and it'll be a sweet piece of swag. Don't know what it might be. Golf balls or something useful to you. But it's totally not holiday related, but there was, I think it was called the Fenn Poem, Fenn, and it was a gentleman who made a lot of money, I think as a jeweler, and he put together a treasure chest, a literal chest filled with gold and diamonds and worth over $1 million. He hid it somewhere, and then he wrote a poem about it, and the first person who could decipher the poem and find it would get it, and he monitored like message boards and stuff, and someone a few years ago found it, and I didn't even know this thing existed, but apparently there were a lot of people who were just poring over this thing. I think a good mystery is really exciting, but whoever apparently found it is not saying where he found it either, because he doesn't want it to become a shrine or something. So there are still some people apparently that are going over the poem just to try to figure out where this is. Somewhere here in the States, I don't know where it is, but because mystery is just intriguing. So
that is intriguing.
I didn't know it existed, because otherwise I would have found that just like that. If nothing else, I would have just marched every inch of America until I found that.
Definitely worth it. Very, very worth it. Yeah.
With my shovel in hand, the whole country is just uprooted with my shovel. Totally. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I've never seen the ice sculptures. I've always seen them on TV. It seems amazing. I would love to do that. I think a lot of that stuff is just fun. It's fun to be out in the cold. There's just something primal and raw about it. It's refreshing when you get back to the warm air of your home again. One thing I wanted to ask you is, do you watch any holiday movies or anything? Do you go out and see movies? Are there some old reliables? Yeah, what's the movie situation in the household?
Yeah, so we have a few kind of go-tos that we watch. Elf is one of our favorites as a family.
Buddy.
Love that movie. Funny, because when I first saw it, I didn't like it, but it wasn't a classic when it first came out, because it would only just come out. Now I feel like it really almost is a classic. Well, for us at least, we try to watch it every year. So we've got a few. The Muppets Christmas Carol, it's another one that's one of our favorites. And yeah, we have a few that we own now. Nice to own those, because then you can just watch them every year if there's traditional ones. We also subscribe to Netflix, so my wife likes to watch some of the holiday movies that are on there, so I willingly participate in those. Even if
you enjoy them. Don't lie. You're like,
yeah. I just gotta go grab a snack in the kitchen while I dab my eyes.
But they come from two totally different worlds. How could they find love? I tell you what, when my wife and I started dating, Elf had just come out. Elf is an old movie, if you think about it. Yeah. But it was a new movie when we were dating, and so we went and saw it, and she told me years later, she said, I was embarrassed when we saw that, because you were just laughing and laughing throughout the movie, and I was like, I love that movie.
Yes.
You smell like beef and cheese.
Yes, exactly.
I love that movie, yeah.
We have a few movies like that in our marriage as well, but I love that movie. It's great. So we've got some of those, and then with my family, we go try to see a movie during that time too. I mean, yeah, their movies can be expensive, but once in a while, it can be a fun outing that is cheaper than other options too, for sure. Than going out to dinner, or going out to other events. If there's one to see, I guess it's a new release, we'll try to get out to the theater, especially because we got time off too, which helps you on the timing of the day that you go see it too. You can go get matinee pricing or something. Do
you have the big recliners in your movie theaters now?
Yep. Definitely.
So it's much nicer than it used to be. It's nicer than my house, to be honest.
For sure.
More comfortable.
That's what they're going for, I think. So
I tell you what, the weird thing is fondue is a Christmas Eve tradition in my house. But going to a movie in a theater is a Christmas tradition in my house.
Oh.
I mean, we haven't done it every time, and I'm always surprised at what's open on Christmas Day, but we're going to do that. And this year, I don't know that we'll do it, but I noticed there's a new Knives Out movie, so it was the sequel to the Daniel Craig movie where he's an investigator. A fun whodunit type of movie. And I was thinking, if we don't have much else to do because other places are closed, you don't go to the bowling alley or whatever, so we might go do that in the afternoon, unless we're snowed in. But I bring up movies because one of the things that I do now, and I didn't do this in the past, and I wish I had, is that especially when you have Christmas family coming over, getting together, and you have a lot of voices that are weighing in on what do you want to watch and all this stuff. Something I do now is I just make a movie queue for the holidays. I'm like, here's the holiday movie we want to see. Here's something else. Because instead of taking a poll, what I would rather just do is when we get to movie time, start a movie already chosen, because I feel like what we end up doing is we're scrolling through stuff and someone's vetoing this and that. And then 40 minutes later, you've decided on something, you started it, and someone's like, this isn't what I thought. And whether it's A Christmas Carol, I have watched that on Christmas, maybe a little cliche, but every couple Christmases, it's nice. And he comes around and something fun. But I like having 4 or 5 movies that are on my list that, depending on who's over or how the night's going, that's what I'm going to play. Keep the family happy and keep things moving along without getting the paralysis analysis type of situation. Of
Die Hard. Is Die Hard on the list?
It is the classic Christmas movie.
Classic Christmas. It's a running joke in the movie vein of like Die Hard and all the sequels are Christmas movies. And we were like, we've never watched all those. So we actually watched them. We watched them over the Christmas time and they were pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was good old American action.
It says, and now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho. You know, so it embraces it.
Totally.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, for sure.
Does it have to be someone's car breaks down in a snowstorm in some remote town on their way back to the big city? No, Die Hard. It's for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, movies are a big piece of it, and I think a lot of people are at home, spending time at home, but you don't have to do movies. The other thing that my family has done in the past is played either a board game or a card game. So this is something we have busted out. How about you guys? Any family favorites?
Yeah, there's a number of different card games. It depends on who's part of that, if it's the kids or the adults. One fun game that we've for sure done, I guess we like dice in our family, but it's left, right, center game. So you play with quarters, and it's a specific dice that have like L's, R's, and then I think neither, like maybe just like a dot. And basically you start with 3 quarters and you roll the dice. You roll 3 die and kind of get all the quarters basically. But if you get an L or an R, you have to give a quarter to the person on your left or person on your right. In one roll, you could lose them all. But as long as you have at least one, you stay in the game. So we've done that as a tradition just for fun. It's just it's a good group game. It's actually really easy for kids to understand. I suppose you have to be maybe some sort of age to make us feel okay about you gambling.
Exactly. Until they're 6, and then they can understand blackjack.
Right. Nope. You know? You're bringing your own quarters. See, there's a coin shortage. You're going to have to come up with some quarters. 25 pennies is fine. Sure. No problem.
Yep. So. Whatever owe you.
Yeah.
Your checkbook. Interesting. Yeah.
So
it's nice to people can walk away with a little pile of riches.
Yeah.
Start the new year on that.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, so we've even busted out Monopoly or Trivial Pursuit.
Nice.
You know, the thing I like is euchre, but what I've realized is that fewer and fewer people know how to play it.
Yeah. Know? I haven't played in a while, but I've played it. But I love games like Trump games. I love them.
Yeah. I haven't played euchre in years either. I probably need a little bit of a refresher, but there used to be a time when everyone played it. In fact, I was at a euchre league. I lived in the city, so every Wednesday after work, and me and this guy, John, played in the league, and so that was fun. So we got pretty good, but that was probably the peak of my euchre-ness. I can actually probably play euchre better than I can spell it. I really have to think about where the R and the E, which way they go. So
it's a fun one.
The other thing I was going to say is that for events, if you are doing something with family, something I might recommend, and what I did this year, was I bought very early. So knowing that my folks were going to spend Christmas with us this year, we got tickets to a musical in the city, but I bought them as soon as they came out, knowing that show was going to run in December, so that I didn't have any last-minute pricing pressures or anything like that.
Yeah.
Buying as early as humanly possible to get your best pricing on that. What about fires? What about, do you guys light up a fireplace or anything? Give yourself a little bit of that holiday ambiance?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that too. So we don't have a fireplace, but my parents have a fireplace, and so we for sure leverage that as much as we can. And yeah, love doing that. I was even thinking just even campfires outside. It depending on how cold it is, that's a really fun time just to sit around and hang out, and low cost fun. Great time to do that. And usually it's a little too cold here to even do that, but inside is great. And to me, it's almost at the level of snow for Christmas. Having fires at this time of year, it's like part of the secret sauce of of the holiday season for me. So I hope someday we can have a fireplace in our house.
I love a real fire. In recent years, I've thought about going to gas. Haven't done it. And I would say each summer, so the other hack on firewood is if you're buying firewood, you want to buy it off season. So if I buy half a face cord or a face cord in the summer, then I've usually got more than enough, probably some left over. I probably did not even buy this last year because I had a whole rack of firewood that I still had. But I love firing it up. And one of the weird phenomena that I see is that when I am starting to light up a fire, people are like, oh, don't do it. It's going to be messy. Don't do it. We're not going to stay long, or don't go through the effort. And then as soon as that fire's going, everyone's sitting around and enjoying it, grabbing a drink, putting their feet up on the ottoman. There's this funny initial reluctance I feel from people that it's not going to be worth it, but it's kind of like a hot tub or something. You get them in it, and then everyone is a fan.
Kind of like fondue, I think. Isn't it sort of like fondue? Like, oh, don't go through. No. Oh,
no.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, is that normal spread? So, yeah, I love the fires, and they're always an easy sell, despite some resistance at the beginning here.
I totally agree. I know. It's nice to have. We definitely leverage that, for sure.
How long does the holiday season last around your household? Does the tree come down right away after Christmas? Does it tend to stay up until the needles are gone? What's the Larson family philosophy on how long you keep decorations up and keep celebrating?
We're a real tree family. We love the smell of a real tree. It is expensive. That's not really a financial hack. I feel our hack is that we have found that we're okay with the trees at Menards or Home Depot. It is more fun to go to a farm and cut down your tree and haul it out, but the fun is getting chased off by the owners that are like, "What are you guys doing here, you kids?" Exactly. Isn't that a different Chris Farley movie? No. Yeah. It's so we have done that just for ease. It's a little bit cheaper, and we've found that we've enjoyed the trees we've gotten. So we try to put up as soon after Thanksgiving as possible. It just depends on if we're in town for Thanksgiving or not, but we try to have it the whole month of December and sometimes into January. And honestly, what drives it for us for taking it down is when the trash will come to pick it up. Yep.
Don't miss that day.
Yeah.
There's only one day.
But she did this last year. That was, I guess we could maybe call it a hack, but we actually decided to put it outside for the rest of the winter. So we took the tree out, we kept the lights on, and we put it out in our yard. I think we might have frozen it into a bucket of water, or we did something to keep it standing up because it just dries out so much if you're not watering it, obviously. But we kept the lights on, and then we just had this tree, a pine tree out in our yard, and we kept it outside of our main window in our dining room to be able to look at it. So it was actually fun. We had never done it before, but we just kept it going, and then I think we probably just cut it up and used it as like firewood or something because it was so dry in the spring or summer.
A little raccoon family that made
exactly right.
Home underneath. It was cute.
We gave them time to get back to their other places.
Girls gave each names. And
exactly.
I was just thinking because we're a fake tree family now, but I certainly remember getting the.
I'm sorry.
There's something romantic about the smell of evergreen in the home. It just can't be reproduced. So I do miss that. But the hack is to use the aerosol hairspray and to spray the tree before you bring it in so that it prevents it from losing its needles throughout.
Oh.
It like holds them in place.
Oh, so, interesting.
Yeah, but you want to do it outside and you want to use the aerosol, not the pump. And apparently that does wonders because certainly we would lose needles all the time despite our best efforts to try to keep it alive-ish. But the year, and to your point of putting it out, I wasn't really paying attention to when the tree pickup was. And in our household, we like to extend the holidays out. So I will tell you, decorations come out, and here's the rule. As soon as Light FM starts playing Christmas music, which is right after Halloween, the decorations start coming out. So we have really extended out the holiday season here. And then sometimes that has meant keeping things up as long as humanly possible. And I miss the trash day. So kind of like you, what I did is I took it out in the backyard and took the chainsaw to cut it into as small pieces as I could and just started chucking them into the woods and flowers. And so got rid of the tree piece by piece. I learned that it's much, much easier just to get it out on trash day. But since then, we've moved to the fake stuff, so it makes it a little easier.
So speaking of the smell and like why you get a real tree versus a fake tree. So when I was in college, my freshman year, my roommate and I wanted to have a Christmas tree in our little dorm. It was just a small little room, basically.
Oh.
And so he had one. So he had this little fake tree. And we're geniuses when we're freshmen. And we were like, let's get some of those pine-scented air fresheners, and we'll just put those on the tree, and then it'll smell like a real tree. So what I didn't know is that they come in those little plastic bags for a reason. You're supposed to gradually pull them out. And we put, I think, maybe 8 of those pine scented air fresheners onto the tree, and we completely uncovered all of them at the same time. And so our entire floor with like 20 rooms smelled like pine scent air freshener. Our clothes smelled like it. It was like, oh my gosh. We were carrying it everywhere we went. So if you want to really get yourself into the holiday spirit, you should smell like air
just
fresheners.
Dress in flannel and carry a large axe and just say, hey, don't judge me.
Exactly.
I'm out in the wilderness.
Exactly.
It smells a little bit like
man.
artificial pine, but yeah. You know what? You get me thinking. I feel like I should take a little of the pine sol and just wet a rag and put it up somewhere.
Yeah.
And
hide it up in the tree.
I feel like that's probably not healthy. And I don't know that it really smells like pine when I come to think of it. But lots of different hacks there. Yeah.
Flammable, too. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Especially with the fireplace, that may be a problem. That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't want to have to do a home insurance claim episode with you.
Exactly.
We'll try to avoid that.
So another tip that I was actually talking with my wife, because I was just asking her, like, what are some different things that you've done as we're buying gifts? And I was shocked when she told me this. So apparently, we shop at Target pretty often, and apparently, if you put items in your cart at Target, Target will tell you when there is a discount on that item. So if you keep it in your cart, she gets prompted when there's like some sort of a discount or sale or something on those items. And so if it's not something you need to buy right away, but you just are thinking that might be a possible gift for one of our kids or whatever, she just puts it in the cart and she gets it. And so apparently she's done this a number of times, which I was like, that's genius. I didn't even know that they would do that. And kudos to Target for making it easy to purchase from them by being notified of those sales. So
good for her for having the patience to
exactly
forethought of putting it in your cart, letting it sit there. And
right.
We're talking about the online shopping here, obviously, right? Someone not going through your physical cart and being like, I'll give you a call tomorrow. I'll check in tomorrow.
Exactly. That would also be very nice and convenient.
But she can't give you the login because she wouldn't want you to know what she's looking at for you.
Exactly, yeah. Hopefully I'm getting some good stuff this year. And then apparently the similar thing, I guess, can happen on eBay.
Yeah, you're spot on. You can actually just add it to your watch list. So if there's something
watch list, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, add it to your watch list. And as a buyer and seller, I use eBay quite a bit. And the nice thing is if I'm a seller, what it'll say is someone has added this to your watch list. And then to entice them, you can send them a specific offer. And on the flip side, when I am interested in something, but maybe it's just a little higher than I would like, I'll add it to the watch list and see. And sometimes, honestly, in just a few minutes, you'll get, hey, are you interested in this at 25% off or more or less, whatever it might be? And so then you can make a decision. But yeah, I like it too because it's intriguing, especially if there's something, especially on eBay, if you're looking at something that's used and it's a good deal anyway,
right? But
you just want to see maybe that good deal could just get a little bit better, a little bit sweeter. Then yeah,
I love it. Yeah. And it's just a good practice to, as you see things, put them on your watch list, put them in a list. A, it helps you remember what you're looking at, but B, it gives you some time to think through it. Think, is that really what I want to get? It's so easy to buy things now that it's easy to just make the decision right now and buy it versus looking a little bit, thinking a little bit about it. You might be able to get a better deal. So I love that those are mutually benefiting one another. You're taking the time to think about it, and you might actually get a deal by letting it stay in there, and you're going to get it anyways. So I love it. I thought that was a really good tip that I wanted to make sure to share.
And Target, great retailer, fantastic company, a lot of good people working very hard to provide you excellent products at super fair prices. Shop your local Target. And if you're in the Minneapolis area, a beautiful headquarters, and even if you've never been inside, you can certainly look up at the top, right?
You can. Also a free hack.
Oh.
They have a whole sort of light show that they do up there, and sometimes it's an aquarium. I think they probably do something for the holidays at different times of the year. And so if you're downtown Minneapolis, you can check that out. It's pretty fun. I think I've been able to get a tour before when I used to work there. So it's fun. It's a great, cool thing that they have on the top of the building.
Mesmerizing and definitely unique. I've never seen anything like it anywhere else. I just remember looking out my hotel room once and wondering, what is that? I'm just staring at it for minutes as the pictures morph and scroll by. That's fun. But offering you good deals, put in your cart and just see if anything happens. Yeah. Another great hack.
I love it.
Yeah.
We've also thought about doing like a toy swap where like we would take all of our toys, package them up, and you could do it this time of year. send a big box and you get a box from them, and then they're all new, but probably want to sanitize them. But that
just makes the kids stronger.
Exactly. Yes. So I love that idea too of swapping toys with other families.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, because I have found that kids go to other kids' houses. The things I've noticed here, none of those toys are new, but they're just so intrigued because they haven't played with them before. So
totally.
I'm like that myself. When I get to see you, I'm like, ooh, let me check out that iPad case. Or you mind if I put your AirPods into my ears? And all sorts of other stuff. We never really grow out of it, do we?
Wow, 6 colors on one pen.
It's like magic. That's what is in the treasure hunt for Life Money U next year.
Yes. So we gave it away. Shoot.
It's 6 pens in one.
That's all from here. I got nothing else.
That's it. We're empty here. So join us in the next episode. But I think it's a nice little tour of the holidays around the 2 houses here. And up there in the Great White North, you're going to be inside a lot, I think, starting already.
Yeah.
Happy holidays to everyone that's listening, and to the Larson household. And hopefully you got some ideas that maybe you can snipe for your own holidays. Add a little flavor, add a little pizzazz, maybe make it a little bit more enjoyable and a little easier on your wallet too. So until next time, stay warm out there, and happy holidays from your friends at the Life Money U podcast.
Thanks, everybody.
See you later.